Embracer Group's performance still floundering despite mass layoffs, Half-Life sequel gameplay shown as part of Half-Life 2's anniversary celebrations, and Blizzard working on an open-world shooter, likely a StarCraft FPS. All that on the TripleJump Gaming News. Well, hello everyone.
Hello.
Welcome in to the TripleJump Gaming News. A few big ones, few small ones again this weekend.
Yeah.
They've given us kind of a weekend off, which I love. I love when they're like, no news this week.
It's nice to have the weekend off in terms of, less stuff to worry about covering. But then on a Monday, when you come in and you're like, let's do some news, you're scratching around for the dregs of news.
Mm-hmm.
But we have found some good stories.
I think some good stuff. But well, the first one isn't necessarily a good one.
No.
Everyone's favourite bad conglomerate, Embracer Group, still doing bad. Doing bad.
It's like I'm almost the kind of the Schadenfreude is there. Like I'm pleased that as an entity they're not doing very well, but obviously I'm not pleased that they're still doing bad despite all these layoffs. And potentially, does this mean there might be even more layoffs? Let's learn.
Yes, Embracer Group, as we know, absorbed everything they could possibly absorb over the last 2 years, and then at the beginning of this year, I think late last year, early this year, everything started going a bit bad, and they were selling studios, closing studios.
Yeah.
Basically came out saying this was all about making money for the investors, and we're not making money anymore, so who cares about making games?
Yeah, and they've now had their Q2 2024 financial results through, and it's showing that things aren't going very well for them. Bless you, Ashton.
Thank you.
Despite their cuts, so net sales have dropped 23% year on year for the 6-month period ending September 30th, 2024, and the least or the worst performing segment of their business is the PC / console games division, seeing a staggering 40% decline in revenue with just in quotes, $432 million generated in that department.
I can't help but feel that it isn't surprising, considering that they've closed most of their studios, and the games they're putting out are
standard
good.
Embracer ones. Yeah, I mean it's always I'm no business analyst or expert, but it always feels to me like a bit of a sticking plaster when layoffs are made in order to kind of make savings and try and pull back things financially. Great, you've cut your outgoings. That's a good thing in terms of your immediate cash flow. Yeah, you're not going to have to be paying all these wages. Obviously not a good thing for the people affected by that, but for the entity, it's a good thing. But what then is going to happen in the future? Now that you've got far fewer staff, surely your revenue is going to go down because you're not going to be able to produce as much of your product, whatever it is. So in a way, it's not that surprising that it's not just been a magic wand kind of solution that has suddenly fixed everything, laying everyone off.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some stats about how many people did actually get laid off. So as of right now, they currently employ 10,450 people, down from the 15,701 from the previous year, which is a 33% reduction. And they also have dropped a significant portion of their development staff from 10,654 developers to 6,250, which doesn't surprise me that they're not making as many games then, because that's quite a massive chop.
Yeah, it's pretty much 50% slash. Those developer numbers are, I think, within those larger numbers you started with. So I think, the first stat was their overall, their entire workforce, and then broken down into developers. They've lost about half of those, which is crazy. It does appear, though, that they're really pinning everything on Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 to try and pull everything back. Because particularly if you go back to some earlier quotes, or some quotes earlier from this year, CEO Lars Wingefors was speaking at the latest investor Q&A in August, I think, and said that the volatile PC / console segment of the company was the bad guy, and that the lumpiness of the video game industry makes the future hard to predict. Lumpiness is not a technical term, I don't think, but he gave the delay of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 as an example of lumpiness.
Obsessed that he calls the PC console segment of the company the bad guy.
Yeah, not him.
Not him. And his board of investors who laid off 5,000 people.
Yeah, although he did take some of the blame for what's been going on when he spoke even earlier in the year, in April, to gamesindustry.biz.
He did. He said, as a leader and an owner, sometimes you need to take the blame. And I feel like personally he should take the blame more. But, you know, it's been painful, but I still believe in what we do in my teams and in the vision we set out. I also believe the public markets, if we do it right, and are a fantastic place to finance your business and tap into both investors and the debt market. This guy sucks, guys.
I mean, he was saying that.
He's giving evil genius.
6 to 7 months ago.
And not that smart either.
Well, no, just evil.
Just evil man.
So he was saying that, you know, almost half a year ago now, breaking news. So he didn't necessarily know that he would be in this position 6 months later, but here we are.
Who's surprised? No one.
Not me.
No one.
So that's the story, really. Embracer, still struggling.
Still bad, still struggling. Still owned by a guy who is absolutely clueless.
Indeed.
Right, the big story of this weekend.
Yes.
Absolutely huge news for the nerds out there, including my boyfriend. There's been some look at Half-Life sequel shown in the brand new anniversary celebrations for Half-Life 2. We've got a bunch of stuff in this, like celebrations. There's been some upgrades to the game. Yeah. There's been a special update. It's now free on Steam. It includes commentary, and there's also some, like we say, bits of Half-Life 3. Maybe it would have been called Half-Life 3, we don't know, which has been shown off, which is very exciting. Well, actually, it's not technically Half-Life 3, it's Half-Life 2 Episode 3.
It is, yeah.
But it's still a sequel.
It will be a Half-Life sequel and a continuation of the story.
Yes.
So, yeah, it wouldn't be Half-Life 3, but it's basically what everyone has been clamouring for, which is more Half-Life.
Yeah, we had one of these for Half-Life 1. They had a commentary documentary style thing that came out 5 years ago for their 20th anniversary. Yeah. But now for Half-Life 2, we've had a look at Half-Life 2 Episode 3, which is so annoying. Yeah. But it's like both exciting and also like.
Well, especially when you see some of these quotes that are from the developers, but we'll get to those in a minute. But the special release includes stunning concept art, gameplay prototypes, and a documentary featuring the Half-Life 2 development team. And developer David Speyer? Not sure.
Cool name.
I did try and look it up ahead of time as well, but I couldn't find any footage of anyone saying his name. Said, Left 4 Dead needed an all-hands-on effort to ship, and so we put down Episode 3 to go and help Left 4 Dead. And then he added, it was a really tight shipping schedule and it required a lot of work, but it took long enough that by the time we considered going back to Episode 3, the argument was made like, well, we missed it, it's too late now. Now, in hindsight, that seems so wrong. We could have definitely gone back and spent 2 years to make Episode 3.
Absolutely, they could have, and I think everyone's like punching the air right now, like, you should have done it.
Yeah.
We saw like all kinds of things about gameplay concepts, like an ice gun that would create cover scale obstacles to hide behind. We also saw blob enemies, whatever those could have been.
Yeah.
And then Valve boss Gabe Newell also reflected on the project's cancellation, calling it a personal failure. Lots of personal failures from the big bosses recently. He says, my personal failure was being stumped. You can't get lazy and say, oh, we're moving the story forward. That's copping out of your obligation to gamers. Yes, of course, they love the story. They loved many, many aspects of it. But sort of saying that the reason you're to do it is because people want to know what happens next. You know, we could have shipped it. Like, it wouldn't have been that hard. My personal failure was being stumped. Like, I couldn't figure out why doing Episode 3 was pushing anything forward. Gabe drives me up the wall. He said, like, whenever we talk about Half-Life and like why there isn't more of them, and we got Half-Life Alyx a little while ago because they were pushing the boat out into VR, which is great. Gabe and Valve are just like, well, it wasn't going to do anything new, therefore we didn't want to make it.
Yeah.
No, that's not. Please just give us the end of the story.
I mean, I would agree with the principle if what he was saying was that it wouldn't have done anything new. We know that it would have like made loads of money,
and the story was already wrapped up, and you know everyone was finished with it.
Yeah, but like if he was saying, oh yeah, if we put it out, it would have made loads of money, but people probably wouldn't have liked it, but we still would have made the money because people would have been excited. Then all right, like fair enough. Be an artist about it and be like, you know, I don't want to be cynical and just put out rubbish, knowing that I'll make cash from it. But he's even admitting that like, no, people would have liked it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not even that like, it would have been a horrible cash grab. It's like, no. Yeah. People would have liked it. You admit that. So
yeah, and the thing about it as well is that like I saw an article this morning that was like, oh, Half-Life 2 anniversary is like broken the record for most concurrent Steam players on a game ever.
Right.
And it's like, cool. What are Valve going to do about that?
Yeah,
Nothing. You'd look at like other games and you'd be like, wow, that's broken records. The developer will do something about that, and maybe we'll see a resurgence in the story and in the game. And it'll be like, no, it's Valve, so
yeah,
no, actually they won't be doing that.
This whole story and the whole documentary was such a double-edged sword, because some of the stuff looked really cool, like the ice gun, you could do like a Frozone thing where you're sliding around. The blob enemies were cool. They were like slipping through bars, like grates and stuff, and coming for you. So that was all really interesting, but then the prevailing kind of attitude from the developers was just, yeah, we should have done this, shouldn't we? Oh well, shrug. And not just like, we should have done this, we didn't, and now we're going to rectify that. It was just, yeah, we should have. Anyway, missed the boat.
Never mind. Yeah.
Gabe did add that if it weren't for the episodes, there'd be no such thing as Dota. And you know, the likes of Portal 2 and Left 4 Dead 2, you know, they're saying that if they'd not made those games, they wouldn't have been able to kind of learn some of the skills and kind of approaches to games that they used elsewhere. So.
Well, you know what, Gabe?
What?
If you make another one.
I'm Gabe. What?
If you make another one, Gabe, maybe you can make some more cool games.
Yeah.
With your weird, whatever it's called. That one that wasn't, they didn't want to talk about for ages. It's got a name of a date. I don't know. It's that Death Battle or something.
That one.
You know the one I mean. They didn't want to talk about it for like 6 months, and everyone was playing it, and it was great.
Yeah.
Last thing, there is a new game coming out.
Yes.
Probably.
Maybe. Not going off the kind of the history of this whole concept, but Blizzard is seemingly working on an open world shooter, likely a StarCraft FPS. But Jason Schreier is not sure whether it will actually happen. We'll get to that. So Blizzard is reportedly working on an open world shooter game. That's a quote from a job ad that's been posted earlier this month for an associate design director. Which reads, as the design director of innovation, you will be the vision holder and owner of key strategic innovations on an upcoming open world shooter game. You stay current with the latest developments in both indie and AAA space. David Bowie is quoted as saying, go a little bit out of your depth, and when you don't feel that this is in a job ad.
Yep.
So when you don't feel that your feet are quite touching the bottom, you're just about in the right place to do something exciting. The idea of innovating in the deep end excites you, balanced with a pragmatic desire to turn dreams into reality that players can get their hands on and enjoy.
Woof.
That's who they're looking
Someone
for.
had fun writing that.
That's the
job
ideal
ad.
candidate. Maybe just David Bowie.
David Bowie,
He's got some time in his hands now.
Yeah, he's not doing anything. I am not really into StarCraft.
Me neither.
But hey,
people are.
I like to see that Blizzard are doing something new and seeing what they're up to. Apparently, in September, there was reports that they were attempting a StarCraft shooter led by Dan Hay. So this could be that. There's no telling it's not. We don't know if Dan's a huge fan of David Bowie, and he was like, make sure you put that quote in.
Yeah, that would actually, if you could join those dots, you'd be able to tell, wouldn't you?
But yeah, Jason Schreier initially noted the project was on its way, but he... if it's not cancelled, Jason Schreier remarked about the project, he's not confident in it.
Someone said, oh, is it true that there's a StarCraft FPS coming? Do you think that might happen? And he went,
if it's not cancelled. Which I love. I love his optimism.
It's based on a history of StarCraft shooter projects. The first StarCraft Ghost was announced in 2002 but cancelled in 2006 after delays. And then there was something called Ares, that was like a code name. Reportedly a Battlefield-like game set in the StarCraft universe, but that was cancelled in 2019 to prioritise Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2.
People loved Overwatch 2.
Indeed. But, there are some rumbling, exciting things happening for StarCraft which might kind of lend credence to the fact that is what, they're kind of setting up the hype, right?
Yeah, and we had StarCraft Remastered and StarCraft 2 come to Game Pass, and there was a a crossover with Hearthstone. So there is lots of different little StarCraft tidbits being fed out into the world. This is what I was saying, like with Valve, we're like, wow, something cool's happening with, bet there's a game coming, whereas it's Valve, you're like, never, that's not happening. It would be cool to see Blizzard do something new, because we've had Diablo 4 was like a really big success, and people loved that. Overwatch 2, less so. But it would be cool to see what they're doing with it, and look, this is very much complete speculation from a job ad in which David Bowie is mentioned, so who knows what this could possibly be. But fingers crossed, a new StarCraft game. I mean, I don't know if we're super into it, but the big news for the StarCraft fans out there.
Indeed, for all the Starheads
but
out there.
I feel like they all might have been spurned before, so maybe don't get too excited, because we don't know where it's going just yet.
There's a StarCraft waiting in the wings.
If it's not cancelled,
probably not going to happen.
Yeah. But let us know what you thought about all the things we've discussed today. We might discuss more of these on the podcast on Saturday. If some more news breaks about StarCraft FPS, how exciting would that be? Keep an eye on our Twitter and our Facebook for all the news stories that get posted during the day, every single day by Fraser. And subscribe, smack that subscribe button.
Smash it.
Ding that bell.
Ding ding.
And we'll see you very soon. Thanks.
Goodbye.
Bye.